All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to a very special live edition of Dockside at the Bay. I'm Vinny, along with Kim. Kim, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It's I'm just hoping that the teeming rain that's happening right now in Chicago doesn't, affect, I don't know, my power situation or anything like that at the apartment. We've turned from cold and bitter wind to rain, and it's, I don't know, the weather's been just crazy lately for this new year, ringing in the new year weather. But yeah, no, things have been good. I had a nice holiday and nice New Year's, spent it with some friends, and it was fun to dive back into the bay though and get to watch, play catch up a little bit. Gosh.
It's been great. This is the first time we've been live for Dockside in, oh my gosh, close to a year.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done a lot of pre-tapes and everything. It just works better with the scheduling, but you know what? It's all right because we're here live tonight and we're not going to jinx it, but we might have a special run-in. But I don't want to guarantee anything because I was not guaranteed. So if it happens, you will know.
Yes.
But we're here tonight to talk all about the Emmy Award-winning web soap, The Bay. And we're in season 7, episode 9. For those who have not watched in a while because we haven't been live, you should go check out our archive, which is on suds-media.com, or the RSS feed, which is Suds and Squared Circle Media. But either way, this episode was a very, very quick episode. It was more of just informational.
Definitely. It was kind of not recapping, but it was definitely just kind of exploring digging a little bit more into the world that we got introduced to in Puerto Rico in the last episode. But we did have some stuff tacked on towards the end that got a little bit, it just kind of veered into a territory I wasn't expecting. And it's been a bit since I'd seen it. So the ending it almost took me by surprise, even though I have seen the episode previously. It just kind of wasn't out of left field, but it did sort of just kind of break away from where we were, which was Puerto Rico and this whole crazy situation we have going with our friends who are being held captive. And it's just, there's a lot going on.
There absolutely is. And, we give the Bay a lot of credit, obviously, for a lot of stuff that they do. And the way that Gregory Martin, puts the show together, and I can't keep the producers out, but the fact that we see the way that he processes all the information together, right? So the way that he tells the story, we know that Adam is holding Tamara, Daniel, and Vivian in Puerto Rico. We know that Pete and RJ and Caleb are in Puerto Rico. They're working on their mission. But the way that it keeps the suspense building, because it goes back and forth between Pete and Adam and the people in Bay City, and just how they interweave everything and keep that suspense going is absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah. No, it keeps you on your toes and it keeps you engaged. And it's not like we're jumping into flashbacks or previous eras even, but we're just jumping back and forth in between these different worlds and we're getting to keep tabs on characters that we kind of, not that they're out of sight, out of mind, but for instance, when we saw the scene with Drea, when she showed, I mean, that character is kind of on the periphery, but they blend them back in such a seamless way that it's like, oh, okay, now I remember that plot point, that detail. And it's not heavy on the exposition or anything like that, but we do like it lets us refamiliarize ourselves with a story that was kind of out of sight, out of mind because of all the action that's taking place in another storyline.
Right.
It's just the way that it just kind of flips back and forth, and still, but it's still an umbrella. At the end of the day, we're still kind of in an umbrella story because we have everyone navigating everything that's happening in Bay City and everything that's happening. Everyone's involved because it's a small community and everyone's just trying to figure out exactly what's going on. I mean, poor Evan is just trying to figure out what's going on. Same with Tamara, same with Daniel. So it's a lot of explanation and a lot of folks just kind of filling in gaps, but it was done in such a seamless, non-clunky way. It didn't feel like they were just spoon feeding us this information. We were getting updates almost in real time, alongside these characters and figuring it out alongside them,
we still have Sarah that's still in the hospital. She's as far as we know, she's still in a coma.
Yeah.
We still have I almost said Bobby, but Sophia watching over the baby while Pete's on his rescue mission. So we still have the story of the people in Bay City that are still dealing with the aftermath of this abduction. This New Year's Eve abduction that Adam perpetrated on Bay City and literally just targeted the Garrett family. His family, if you really want to think about it.
Right. I mean, it's such an interesting sort of component because, we still don't know that much about Adam. I mean, we do, but we don't. We know obviously that he's Pete's brother. We know obviously that like his, he's the evil twin, the bad seed, but we don't really know exactly all don't know the full scope of this character just yet, but we see him just wreaking all this havoc and causing all this chaos. And unpacking this character though, and like learning like little by little about him, I appreciate that because it keeps us in suspense longer. It's like we don't know, all the cards aren't on the table yet for this guy. We don't know his entire villain origin story just yet.
Well, before we get to any other part of the show, we actually do have a run-in special guest that we're going to bring on stage right now. He is the director, producer, creator of The Bay, Gregory Martin.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Good to see you as well.
Great to see you too.
Thank you for joining us on this very special live edition of Dockside at the Bay.
Well, yes, I'm happy to be here. I really appreciate all your support, and you guys are amazing. And I love listening to the podcast, and you guys teach me some things every once in a while when I was like, oh wait, I did mean that. I'm like, did I mean that? I don't know, but it sounds good.
Well, yes. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad that you were able to get away from your shoot for a little while. But we just wanted to bring you on and ask, like, the genesis of the Bay. Like, where did this idea come from?
Well, I grew up watching daytime and primetime soaps. I had 3 sisters and a mom and a babysitter and lots of relatives who watched soaps. And everyone had their own favorites. My mother, I think the first soap opera that I ever watched was All My Children, because my mom used to watch it with her best friend. And I don't know if you know a lot about All My Children, but
we were at ABC House. So that was All My Children in General Hospital. That was I kicked out of the
All My Children.
I was a little kid for All My Children, and then when I was old enough to finally start watching, I was like around 12 years old, something like that. My mom's like, "Yeah, you're old enough now. It's okay."
Yes. Well, I wasn't old enough. I sure wasn't old enough, but I would watch it with my mom because she was so addicted to it, and it was during the Jenny and Greg days, and Angie and Jesse, and and I was fascinated as a kid watching this. I was a 5-year-old watching a soap with my mom because she was so addicted. And then later, my babysitter watched Santa Barbara. And so that show, we would race home because it played at 3:00, and we'd race home to watch Santa Barbara with my babysitter, and she made my sisters watch it too. And then that was kind of a great show, and that was a wonderful show. And then every Wednesday we'd go visit my aunt my aunt Rosetta, actually, who was addicted to Dynasty, and so we'd have Dynasty. We'd watch Dynasty. So I just kind of got into soaps as a child, and then eventually I became a fan of One Life to Live, and then Another World, and then General Hospital. And those are pretty much the only shows I really watched. But I just kind of grew up watching those shows, and so yeah. So, and that's what inspired the Bay. So.
Well, it's funny because
generational thing with the soaps, though, as you described, and just seeing it, even when All My Children was canceled, it was just such a devastating thing, because it's like, this is something that I grew up on. This is something that I associate with, summer vacation when I was a kid, and it was a connection I had with my mom. It was, I'd come home from school and we'd watch the recorded episode of it, and it just, so seeing soapy resurgence, as in the Bay, as in Beyond the Gates, as in these, series that are just, it's so gratifying and so wonderful to see, because for a while I just thought it was going to get taken from us and we weren't going to see any replacement, unless you count time soapy dramas and stuff like that. But
yeah, and it was actually a great, for me to actually grow up watching soaps and then get to work on them, because I did work on 3 different soaps.
Yeah.
I think it was wonderful. It was great. I've always loved soaps.
So prior to which soaps did you work on previously prior to the Bay?
I did Another World first.
Gotcha.
And then General Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Then Beyond the Gates. So
Beyond the Gates, that must have been incredible. Oh gosh. So when I found out that show was debuting, I was just over the moon, and it's lived up to every expectation that I've had. It's such a fun run. So
yeah, that was fun. I only wrote the first season because I had to go back to do the Bay. And did you see this past season of the Bay, season 10?
I'm not there yet. Haven't watched it yet. I'm actually gonna.
Did you watch it live?
And I'm gonna. Maybe we should do a live, watch it in real time together for the first time. Maybe we should do an episode on that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know I've been so working through the backstory that I haven't gone to the current stuff yet. So
oh wow. I have to tell you, for me, it's the best season. It's the show. Season 10 is. I think we do things in season 10 that we haven't done before, and I feel like the show is exactly where I want it to be. And I say that every year because it gets closer and closer to where I've wanted it to be. But I love season 10. Season 10 is, for me, our best season. So there's a lot to look forward to. So
now, I just have a question. This is just so obviously, with the Bay, I mean, it started out, obviously, web series, small independent sort of, but these characters and everything, I mean, it's such a rich, world that you've created. How long have those characters lived? How long were they living in your head before you finally got them down on paper and were able to just kind of create this world?
Well, most of them were living in my head since I was a kid. Garrett's were, as a child, because I grew up watching these soaps, I created my own version of, it started off drawing pictures, and then I would do synopsises, and then eventually it turned into scripts. And then, I had these characters in my mind since before I could write a story. And so particularly the Garretts, they've been, the Ramoses and the Garretts, they've been in my mind since I was a child, since I was 6. So.
And just because you said, now it's where you want it to be, has your plan, obviously series, change and story Bibles change and things like that. And with the way that the Bay is filmed and created everything, how do you, compared to when you started out with it, compared to now, how much has just radically shifted in terms of what you storyline
a lot. I think one of the things that we did was we found our footing. There was in the beginning, I wanted to do a show, like a daytime show that you watch every day, but we were doing it in 12-minute webisodes, and it just wasn't working. So I think it took us a little time to kind of really figure out the flow and then understand the audience and what the audience wanted. So for me, I always tell people when they're when they're tuning into the Bake to start with season 3, because I feel like season 3 was, there's wonderful moments in season 1 and wonderful moments in season 2. And there's some people that really love season 2, but the 3 is where me as a writer, we actually had a writing team and we wrote the whole season all at once, and we shot it all at once, and then we pretty much did that from then on out. But for seasons 1 and 2, we kind of pulled it together because we didn't really know what the format was, and then we became a long form show, and then that's when we recut the original season, the beginning, which is or the webisodes, and we turned those into 10 broadcast half-hour shows. Right. And then we restructured our season 1 for Amazon into like a long form show. And then season 3 was really the first season that it was midway through season 2 that we became a long form show. Okay. So it took a little, so the first half of season 2 has moments that are not so great, but then once we got into the formula of doing a long form show, then that's when it just felt better. It just felt like it was more grounded. And then it took me a little time to kind of narrow out certain storylines that I wanted to focus on. And then because it's all non-exclusive deals, sometimes we have to readjust something because we may lose an actor, or something happens where just the focus shifts for whatever reason. There's a trillion different reasons why. And I feel like now the show is exactly where I want it to be. But it took a little time to get there. Season 7 was my favorite season for a little while. And then I really love season 9. And then now season 10 is my favorite. So, yeah.
Well, we are working through season 7 right now, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And,
okay, cool.
What I really like is the throwback to soaps of old for the Bay, that you guys actually went on location to Puerto Rico. And I was just telling Kim, the way that the storytelling that you have, the style, is fantastic, because the suspense keeps building without forgetting about the other characters involved. And
yeah. That's another thing that we often do, is we try to, if there's a hole in the story, like we'll watch the season after it's done and we're like, you know what, we didn't cover this. Well, we'll do it next season. And so now we have another 14 episodes to write. And so we have to, figure out how to make sure that we kind of cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's. And so, but sometimes we don't recognize that until after we've watched the show. And then we're like, wait, we need to tackle this storyline. We just kind of left it hanging, or this plot that we just kind of didn't really, and we try to eventually, share that help the audience understand what that meant, or whatever that plot was that we didn't tackle fully. We try to at least explain it in some way, seasons. So.
So I first of all, I have to say the cast of the show, is fantastic. You guys have an all-star cast, from Mary Beth Evans to, the late great Tristan Rogers and Jackie Zeman, as well as, the two gentlemen that played Mayor Jack,
Nicholas Coster and John Pratt.
And just soap legends. How is it for you watching soaps growing up, that now you're working with these legendary actors? How is it for you? Do you ever get those like a
fanboy out? Yes. I have many times. I think now, because I've been doing it for so long and I've worked on that, it doesn't come as often as it used to, because I just work with so many, the actors that I've grown up watching. But it's always a joy to cast someone that I was a fan of growing up. I'm trying to think of some. Well, this season 10, we had it wasn't a soap star, but we had Bernie Williams, who was. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm wearing a Dodgers hat, but I'm also a Yankees fan. So, and Bernie Williams, who was, the Hall of Famer, that was kind of a fun. I definitely was fanboying out when I got to work with Bernie Williams. Even Olivia Dabo, who now she's my dear friend, and but I was crushing on her very much as a child. So now I don't have obviously any of those. But she was, she was my crush. I used to love Olivia Dabo. So there's always those moments where the first time I met Mary Beth Evans, for instance, I never watched Days of Our Lives, so I was never. I mean, I knew who Kayla was, I knew who Patch was, but didn't. I wasn't a fan of the show, so it was Catherine Bell. She played Catherine on General Hospital that I loved. And so when we were casting Sarah, which was this invention that I had in my head for 20 years, I wanted the perfect person to play her, and I wasn't sure who that was. And there's a very well-known manager for soap stars who I was friends with, and he pitched the idea of Mary Beth Evans, and I was like, oh my God, I think she would be wonderful. And I remember the first day that I met her at Birds. It's a place that a lot of folks, when we would work at General Hospital, we would go to Birds to eat, which is right down the road. She walked in with her sunglasses on, which is she's such a yard woman. Like she's like always in the yard, like playing with dirt, So she's not very posh in her everyday living, but she came in with those big sunglasses, and I was like, okay, this is Sarah, and I knew it was Sarah right then. But it's so funny because every time she's not on the show right now, but she, whenever I would have her go to talk to wardrobe, I'm like, okay, I want you in heels. And she's like, oh, you and your heels. I don't want to wear heels. She hated wearing heels, I was like, no, Sarah wears heels. You have to wear heels, So, but it was always, she was just so not that, but she did a wonderful job, and we got her first 2 Emmy wins, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had the privilege of getting to meet her at a Days of Our Lives at Day of Days a few years back, and she was just so lovely to get a chance to speak with. But it was so funny because I had the opportunity to get a photo with her, and I sent it to my mother, and she's just like, oh, you met Catherine Bell. You met Catherine Bell. Because she didn't really watch Days. I came into Days and so all of the actors, Wally Kurth, all these actors that she's like, you saw Ned? You saw the crossover I see, especially now, but it was just so funny. She automatically associated her with GH.
Yeah, that actually happened with me with my mom. Now Jackie Zeman, who was, a godsend, and working with her was a dream. And she brought so much joy to the set. I don't think anyone brought the type of joy that Jackie would bring to set. She was such a bright light, and she was always shining, and pretty incredible. But I love my cast, and they're all wonderful, but there was something really, really special about Jackie. And I became friends with her, and obviously I grew up watching Bobby, and but to me, she's Sophia because she's playing Sophia for so many seasons. Yeah. And so my mom came to visit, and we were at an event that we had. It was like, I forgot, it was some party that we had, and Jackie showed up, and she was there, and my mom kept saying, I need a picture with Bobby. I need a picture with Bobby. Please. And I'm like, that's not Bobby. That's Sophia, or that's Jackie, So, but yes, these are iconic stars, Scorpio is Tristan Rogers is Scorpio,
God.
It's like,
No,
and Andrea Evans, who I loved on One Life to Live. I was a big Tina and Cord fan. And, I remember when I cast her as Patty, I was like, I kind of want you to bring what you brought to Tina, to this character of Patty, you know. And she was all for it, you know. And so there was a couple scenes that we got to do. We recast the role because we had to for this storyline. And the actress who played her was wonderful. She was from Final Destination and a bunch of things. You'll probably recognize her. Her name is Amanda Detmer. But very different from the way Andrea played it. And but I always think about what the character would have been like if we got to kind of explore a little more of Andrea as Patty, because I really did want to kind of recreate that essence of Tina, you know, that Andrea Evans brought to that role, you know.
Yeah. Because I don't know, the actors that work in daytime, and I've heard this because, you know, being involved in like a film program, obviously I got to work with some, you know, actors, up and coming actors in Chicago. And I remember speaking with this one woman on set for one of the student films, and she was just saying how she wishes that she had the opportunity to be on a soap because the training that you get. Yes, and at, like, you know, especially like back in the, you know, the 80s and when it was just the massive amounts of dialogue, the memorization, and everything. Best training ground for actors, and I feel it's for actors.
It's amazing how
it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Christos, he hasn't done or James Preston, you know, they didn't do daytime, but we'll shoot so many pages in a day, and there's so much dialogue, and sometimes they don't look at the script until like the day before.
Oh my God.
And I see them like looking at the, you know, work, and they're like, okay, and they're looking at their pages and they read it once, and then all of a sudden it's in their head. Like, I don't know how you do that. I could never. I could never do that. You know, I write the show, and I couldn't tell you, you know, what I wrote. But
I had to in a directing exercise and memorize this brief little passage, and I swear it took me forever. I was walking around my apartment trying to memorize this tiny little bit of dialogue, and I'm just thinking, how can you do this with multiple pages overnight? It's a gift that I do not possess.
Yeah, no, they do. And there's sometimes, you know, when they're like, Tristan's a great example of someone who would, you know, he would go from, I think there was at one point he was working on 3 shows at once. He was doing General Hospital, The Young and the Restless, and The Bay. And he came to set one day, and he was like, we were talking about a scene. He's like, I don't have that scene. And I was like, what do you mean? We're about to shoot it. He's like, no, I didn't get that. I was like, I think he was lying, but or maybe he didn't check his email. But whatever happened, he didn't know the scene. And so he's like, okay, well, we're about to shoot it. And so he's like, okay, just give me a moment. And he goes and he's looking at the scene for like 5 minutes. And he's like, all right. And he goes and he comes back in the room and he shoots it. But he did it, you know, because they're so used to working, you know, in these environments, you know.
So with Christos, I have to say, you found a diamond in the rough. Like with Christos, and forgive me, I'm probably going to butcher the name, Karuchi, yes. Finding those 2 actors, the chemistry they have is phenomenal, number one, but also the way that Christos pulls off double duty with 2 completely different characters, and you know, the chemistry is there, but you found diamonds in the rough with them, because
thank you. I agree.
We've talked numerous times about just how much they bring, and for them to be, they were models in their previous careers, as far as I know. So how did you find them for these roles, and just they blew up?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, I met them at very different times. There was a different Vivian. I don't know if she ended up in the cut for the Bay the Beginning. Was there a different Vivian in that?
Vivian was referenced in Bay the Beginning, but I don't know if we actually saw her. They had said that
so I think when they recut them for long form.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Sorry, that's Alexa. She has a mind of her own. When they recut the episodes, they must have cut out the other actress, because
I think you're right,
was so popular.
The Wikipedia page for the Bay does show 2 actors for Vivian, and I'm like, wait a minute, we've never seen another one, at least from when we started. So you're probably that's probably what it was.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the story of Christos first. So Christos, this is kind of a could be a sad story, especially for an actor, because I cast the role of Pete Garrett, Peter, we used to call him in the beginning, based on how I imagined the character, which, you know, he had like curly hair, and it was very and so I met this actor who I thought, okay, he could play him. Mm-hmm. And then we went to, oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling this story. But so the actor, we went to, I'm not going to mention his name. So he was a young guy, maybe a couple of years older than Christos. But we went to an event together. And at the event, it was for Christos' mom's art gallery. And when we showed up, they introduced me to Christos' mom. Her name was Catherine Andrews. She passed away, but she was a famous painter. Mm-hmm. And so she had an art gallery, and it was a big deal here in Santa Monica. And so we were, and then they said, okay, this is her son. And I met, who was an X Games champion for skateboarding.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, this is Pete Garrett. Right? This is Peter Garrett. I cast the wrong guy, God. And I went with the other actor who was supposed to play him. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I can feel it. Like he had everything about him was the way I imagined Pete Garrett. And he had he was glowing. Christos, he glows. You've met him. Have you met him in person? Yeah, he definitely glows. He glows when you see him. Yeah. But he was glowing, and I was like, he's Peter. He's Peter. So I had to let the other actor go, and then I ended up casting the other actor in another project. But I knew when I saw Christos that he had to be Peter Garrett, and he wasn't meant to be a lead character, but through the years, the character just kind of grew, and we did a survey, and people liked Peter, and so it was after we did Far from the Bay that I think everyone kind of started really liking him, and so then he eventually became the star of the show, but he came from the world of he did commercials, he did some modeling, he was on a teen show. I think he was Miranda Cosgrove's drummer or something for something.
Okay.
iCarly, is that iCarly?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but he had done stuff, but then it was really his first major acting role, and then he just kept growing and growing as an actor until eventually he started winning Emmys. And yes, he is definitely an incredible actor. And the twin part came about because we had recast the original concept of the character, which was his fraternal twin brother.
Yeah.
And Chad Duell played the part originally, and Chad was wonderful in the part. And the other actors were good too, but not quite. I think Chad, it's funny because I know everybody loves this new Michael.
Yeah.
And people would always tell me, Chad is so much better on the Bay than he is on General Hospital. And I think sometimes, you're cast in the wrong role. I know he played the role for so many years, and he did make it his own on General Hospital, but he had a special thing that he brought to Adam Kenway that was hard to match when he couldn't come back to do the show because General Hospital didn't allow him to come back. So we had to recast a couple of times, and we tried to, and it just wasn't working. Mm-hmm. As wonderful as the other actors are, they just weren't, they didn't have what Chad brought to the character for our audience. Our audience preferred Chad in the role. And so the other actors are great. They just, it was a miscast situation. Right. And I don't even know if people realize there's actually two other actors, but there were, but they looked very similar. And then that's when, Wendy and I were just like, what are we going to do? Because this is an important character, but let's change the story. Let's have it where the real Adam Kenway was an identical twin brother. Mm-hmm. And he basically was kind of using this orphan to kind of pretend to be him. And then the orphan was kind of delusional because he was an orphan. And so he actually started to believe it himself. He morphed into being Adam, but it was never, the character is Owen. Actually, I don't know if it's one of the episodes, but his real name is Owen. And he was an orphan that was pretending that Adam paid off to kind of get information. And then eventually he started to kind of believe that he was really Adam Kenway, and then eventually the real Adam Kenway came about, who was this kind of diabolical, insane, mastermind.
Well, I love that lore though, and I love how it like kind of shifted. And it's one of those things where it's like you anticipate with one act, it just changes that needed to be made, but the change itself, I mean, and Vinny and I have discussed this, just how amazing. I mean, having it be like, wind up where Christos gets to play the dual role, gets to play the evil twin. It's such a interesting twist of fate that kind of led to that, but the payoff and what we
the interesting thing about that was a lot of people, like Christos himself, he was like, this is going to be hokey. We've always seen like evil twins on soaps, right? And so I was like, no, I think you can do it. And he didn't believe himself at the time. And then I was like, trust me, you can. And what ended up happening was, I think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but people started to love Adam more than Pete. He became a fan favorite. It's like, I think you have more Adam fans than you do Pete fans now.
Well, I have to say, because Adam gets some of his dialogue is just absolutely like some of the one-liners that he gets, the little sarcastic, just kind of, it's subtle, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like it just must be so fun as an actor to be able to like play, just play like a straight up villain who just gets to like say these crazy things and just go off the wall. And I keep coming back to that one scene when he's like talking to himself in the mirror in the it's just, oh my God.
That won him an Emmy. We won an Emmy for that.
Well deserved, because watching that is like, oh my goodness, okay, like this is totally worth the twists and the turns and the murkiness and the confusion to get to this point where we get to see him just playing this, this crazy villain that's just there to cause chaos. It's great.
Well, I'll tell you the story about Carucci. So we were casting the role of Riley, and one of the producers who were working on the show, they knew who Carucci was, and I didn't know who she was, but they knew her from she was a lot of like hip hop artists write songs about her, and she was in that scene, and so and she apparently had like, at the time she had like 8 million followers or something, and they said to me, they were like, you have to cast her, and I was like, who is she? And they're like, there's rappers that write songs about her. Like, she's very popular. And she hadn't really acted. I don't think she had any acting, maybe one movie or something. So she wasn't, but she was known in the world through music. And so I was like, well, she's not right for Riley, because it wasn't right. Riley was Sophia's daughter. It didn't make sense, So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to cast her in, but let's have her come to the table read, and we'll see. And maybe we were going to make her like a small role, and then we would figure out eventually what she was going to play. And then we took a picture at that table read. It was for when we became the long form show. And we took a picture at the table read, and a fan wrote, "Is that the new Vivian?" And I was like, oh my goodness, why don't I just bring Vivian back? Because we had her in the web version. And then, so we ended up in the second half of season 1, we reintroduce her where she comes in the car, and but that was all written later. And then we didn't know what we were going to do with her, but we brought her back. And at this point, Pete was heavily involved with Janice in this, younger, older woman, younger man relationship. And then we brought in Vivian. We brought in Carucci to play Vivian, and it was another situation where it just was magic between Christos and Vivian, because I was a big we called them Jeter at the time, Janice and Peter. I wanted that to work, and I was really trying to go for that because it was inspired by my mother's relationship with her husband, who was 13 years younger than her.
Okay.
And so I really was kind of rooting for this Janice Pete thing. And the fans loved it too. But once we brought Vivian into the equation, the response of people wanting Pete and Vivian together, I couldn't deny it. It was like, even though they loved, everyone loves Lily Melgar, she was wonderful, but it was just something that the sweetness, the tenderness, the way they looked at each other, the way they just had this warmth that people loved. And there was almost like an innocence of beauty. I don't know how to explain it, but whatever it was, it was just, it was undenying, and that's when I knew I had to make Pete and Vivian our super couple.
A little bit of like a kill your darling situation, but also for the sake of like a super couple in a way, because it's like when they have that chemistry and they have that spark and you lean into it. I mean, the two of them,
totally.
They're gorgeous together, and it's just
I know everybody loves them, and it's like my family threatens me, and whenever they think I'm gonna like kill Vivian off or something, they threaten me. So.
Hey, I'd be getting in on those threats too. They're my favorite.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to at least ask what other projects you're working on right now. I see you heavily promoting The Raven.
Yes.
And so what other projects do you have going on besides the Bay?
Well, we have a few different things going on. We just released season 10 of The Bay, which I think is, like I said, our best season yet. It'll be out on VOD. I just found out that the Roku, because they're so late in like releasing on the season 9 on VOD, and everyone keeps hounding me and asking me, and it's like, trust me, I want it out just as bad as you do. My distributors aren't, the distribution platforms haven't released it yet. Right. But I just found out that the Roku channel is going to be releasing it on season 9 on February 1st. So for those who haven't watched, and then Amazon it's supposed to hit any day now.
Okay.
I think Tubi released one episode of season 9. I don't know why they did
that.
But
I saw that. Because I watched or do my rewatching through Tubi, and I noticed that crop up, and I was like, oh, okay, just the one.
Yeah.
Us a little bit.
So I do like people to watch on Tubi. That's the best for us. But I just don't know when they're going to release these episodes. So and then season 10 right now, we just did the live on Popstar, and so we usually wait till they get the exclusive, and then we wait a few months, and then so we're hoping that by March season 10 will be available on. I did a movie called, I was a producer on it. I didn't write or direct it, but James Preston is the lead character in it. It's called The Plastic Men. And that's a great film. You should watch it if you haven't. And then my new movie, The Raven, which is based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe, that will be out on VOD on the 16th of January, so next Friday. And we're having our cast premiere the day before, but that is probably I've directed many films over the years. I think The Raven is my 12th or 13th feature that I directed, and it's my favorite out of all the movies that I've directed. So I really hope that people like it and receive it well. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, and Christos is leading that. Christos plays the lead, and Mike Manning. They're both in the film. So you have two baby folks in it. Yes.
Well, sold me already.
Mike is another one that I love working with, and he's also one of my best friends.
It was a pleasure getting a chance to chat with him recently on the podcast too. Just recently for just lovely to chat with, and he's involved in so many soaps and just that universe, and just being able to chat daytime and everything with him was just incredible. Same as it's been incredible being able to chat with you about all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are a big supporter of Samantha's Friends. So how did you get involved with Samantha's Friends?
Well, I believe they started watching The Bay, and then Mike, because Samantha loves Mike Manning, and so she just was a diehard fan of Mike and eventually The Bay, and then I think Alice became a fan of Christos, and then so we just started going to Samantha's Friends, and haven't left because we love them. They treat us so well, and it's such a great organization, and it's a wonderful way to raise money. I love dogs. I love Samantha. I love Alice. And I think, it just feels like it's a part of my yearly schedule. It's like we have to go to Samantha's Friends in May and September, So, and then now James is part of it, which is great. But also, Eric is there, and Jordy, and it just feels like a a bit of a cast reunion when we go to those, especially if we're not shooting at that time, So
Right.
Right. No, the events they put on are just incredible, and you just feel good knowing that like you're there, you're among all these amazing people in daytime, but you're also just there for such an amazing cause. And
yeah, it's such a great cause.
You get to see dogs, have brunch and see dogs and get cool. It's
Are you guys going in May?
I'm not able to attend in May, unfortunately, but I'm hoping for September.
And I plan on it for May this year. I won't be able to do September because it falls right on my son's 21st birthday. So I kind of have to spend that day with him. But my goal, and I just talked to Alice about it not too long ago, that my goal is to go for May. So that's
okay, great. Well, have you met all the actors from the Bay that go to?
I did in September, except for Christos, because Christos couldn't make it.
Oh, okay. Well, he's scheduled to be there now.
When I was there a few years back, and that was just, I was definitely doing some fangirling for sure.
Oh, great. Awesome. Well, I mean, they love that, and they're wonderful people. Who was there the year that you were there?
Well, I got a chance to speak with you, which was awesome. And then I had a chance to speak with, who was it? Mike, as well as who, oh gosh. Why am I blanking on his name? Daniel.
Eric.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes. And we had the opportunity to film the little promotion for Dockside too, which was just that was.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That was so much fun. Yes.
That was a highlight for sure. No, it was great getting a chance to see all these actors, and yes, just it's such a cool the soap universe. It's a small community, I feel, but it's just like, it's a mighty fun, lovely community of just super talented people. And, being able to take part in, events with folks from the Bay, and, it was lovely. And yeah, if you have the opportunity to go to the Samantha's Friends events, then take advantage.
Yeah, it's actually great, especially what I also love about I don't know if people know this, I'm sure they do, but it's very political behind the scenes. Like the shows are always at each other's throats. They're always competing with each other in real life. So, but it's not. But when you go to Samantha's Friends, it's such a camaraderie, and you have like stars from General Hospital or stars from Days of Our Lives or stars, and everyone kind of gets along when we're all there together. But there is a very competitive, like behind the scenes between the shows that is sometimes not great, which we don't ever want to participate in that. But there is like it's not a friendly. The shows are actually sometimes rivals. Which is kind of ridiculous because we should be working together, considering that there's not a lot of daytime shows, but there is a lot of competition, unnecessary competition. And that's what I love about Samantha's Friends is the stars from the different shows. We all kind of come together, and we're all great, and we all get along wonderfully. And that's what it should be like. It shouldn't be, as competitive as it can get, because we're all doing this, and it's a great thing, especially, keeping the genre alive. That's something that we have to do, so, it's, there was one other thing I was going to mention. It was about, I can't remember what it was. There was something about, something that you said, and I wanted to mention. I can't remember what it was now, but if I remember, I'll let you know.
If I flash on it, I'll bring it back to you. It's just
okay, cool. Well, James, you'll get to meet James. He'll be there this time, and his character he's been on the show. I don't know if you've seen him yet, as the photographer, but his character really develops in season 9, and then by season 10, he is I think you're gonna. So hopefully you'll get to see all of the seasons before we come back. You, Vinny in May, and then you in September.
But if I'm not all caught up by September, then then there's something's wrong with me at that point.
What episode are you on now of season 7?
Currently
tonight we were starting to talk about episode 9.
Okay, cool. So that's a great episode.
It is. Yeah.
No, season 7 is like such a wild ride, and I'd kind of forgotten like little aspects of it. Even going in and rewatching, I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot about that little twist. Oh, wait, I forgot about this. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm glad that I could be here, and it's been a joy talking to you all. And the fact that you guys watch the show and are so dedicated means so much to me and so much to the stars of the show.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. Thank you. It means a lot. So.
An amazing show, and thank you so much for taking the time. It was really incredible getting a chance to speak with you again.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that was the creator, producer, director, major domo of the Bay.
Oh, so that was so much fun to get a chance to chat with him.
Yes, it was. So, and we've been at it for 50 minutes, folks. I want to thank you all for watching. We will kind of reboot for next week and go into season 7, episode 9 for next week, and we'll talk about it. This was more of a special guest. We didn't know if he was going to be able to make time for us, so we wanted to at least have.
So happy that he was able to.
Exactly. Exactly. So, for those of you who tuned in to watch about season 7, episode 9, you got a very special treat. Gregori Martin, who obviously created the Bay, came on. And then next Tuesday we'll be back. Next Thursday we'll be back in our normal noon time slot, and we'll be talking about episode 9 of season 7.
Yes.
But for all those that are watching right now, remember you can support the network. We do have the super chat function, super thanks, super stickers. They are on the bottom of the video. You do on YouTube. You do have the box with the $sign. And for the entire year of 2026, every month we'll be giving away a Suds and Squared Circle Media T-shirt. The way to enter is to support the network with a super chat or a super thanks or a super sticker. Every time you give us a super, you get entered into the monthly drawing for a T-shirt. And so you can enter as few or as many times as you want, and all of it does help our network. And then we'll have a random drawing live on Suds News every month, and we will go ahead and give out a T-shirt every month. So help us out and enter to win a free T-shirt. If you just want to buy your T-shirt, you can go to merch.suds-media.com. There are some of our merch on our YouTube channel, but go to merch.suds-media.com, brings you to our spread shop, and you can buy whatever you want. Remember, if you get the doggy bandana or the doggy cuddle buddy, the proceeds go towards Samantha's friends. No matter how many of the doggy bandanas or doggy cuddle buddies that you buy, the proceeds do go to benefit Samantha's friends, which we were just talking about. All right, let's see. So yeah, we will re-rack for next week. Next Thursday, we will come back and talk all about season 7, episode 9. But this was a treat. Tonight to have Gregori Martin on Dockside at the Bay. So, Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I am Misfit8690 on Twitter. Feel free to hit me up there, as well as on Instagram and YouTube. There, I'm a Little Misfit52. And feel free to reach out to chat about soaps or whatever else strikes your fancy.
All right. And as always, you can reach me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. At Suds Media is our network X account, which is normally what I'm on. I don't always switch back and forth. However, with that said, you could find us on Instagram and Threads at Suds and Squared Circle. On Facebook is also Suds and Squared Circle Media. And then on TikTok at Suds_Media. But for everything, you can go to suds-media.com, which brings you to our YouTube channel. So hit that like button and subscribe and turn on the notifications and send us a super and enter to win a Suds and Squared Circle T-shirt. So for Kim, I'm Vinny. We will see you next week as we go Dockside at the Bay. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.